household, miscellaneous, or business? Which do you want it to be? Business. Why? Well, how many of you don't own a business right now? Let me see, raise your hands on that. And how many of you do own a business? Okay. Therefore, you can write things like this off, right? What is the benefit of being able to write off something on your taxes? Okay. We said earlier, didn't I tell you earlier what is a great rate of return? What was a real super rate of return on your money? 20% on my money. If I could get 20%, like I'm going to do backflips, right? But that's really hard to get, isn't it? When I write something off, what's the rate of return on my money? 50%. Think about that. What's your tax bracket? If it's, say it's a 30% tax bracket, that means when I buy this pen, the government lets me make it an expense, and therefore I get to take it off my income. I have $1 worth of income, but I have $1 worth of expense. Therefore, I had zero income. Well, if I was in a 30% tax bracket, then what happened to my investment? I invested $1 in a pen, but I got 30 cents back, didn't I? So I made 30% on my money. I mean, the government will give you an instant 30% on your money every time you write something off. That's pretty hot, isn't it? When you think about it that way, if I were to put money into a mutual fund and if I were to get 16.5% on it, I would be doing backflips. You know, if I have a business and can write off this pen, I get 30% just like that. If I'm in a higher tax bracket like myself, I get 40% just like that. And if I add my state taxes, I get 50% just like that. That means every time I spend something for my business, I get that return on my money, which is pretty hot. So every one of you has got to have a business so you can write those things off so you can get the high rates of return, basically. All right? That's all basic stuff. I know you all understand this. But the way I want you to think about it is to flow your money through these kinds of leaks so that every time you spend money, you're spending it in a certain flow in exactly the same way. It doesn't matter if you're making $500 a month or $50,000 a month. It all flows through the same kinds of leaks. So you can examine it all the same way every single time. You want to look through the same formula every single time. So I'm going to give you a system here in a minute that'll allow you to do that fairly easily. I'm going to teach you what I call the millionaire minute. If I could teach you a technique that would take you a minute every time you spend money, and if you spent that minute every time you spent money, then it would make you a millionaire, how would you invest that minute every time you spend money? Okay. The millionaire minute is a process. Every time you spend money, you analyze it based on a certain system. I'm going to teach you. Everybody take one. And as soon as you receive one, if you're sitting with your partner there, you're going to flip it open to this first sheet, which we call the cash flow system. And it looks similar to this, if you would please. Okay, does everybody have, at least two of you have one there together? All right, good. Now let's look up here because I want to teach you a way to control your money by one little simple piece of paper that you carry with you. All of you and each of you will have this one little simple piece of paper, so I'd like you to fold it up for you. Take it in the middle and fold it in half. Okay, so it looks like that. It's all perforated and it's easy to use. A friend of mine named Jim Dyer created a little system that he calls the pocket planner. And I created this particular piece to go in with it. This is unique, and it's a patented system, and it's a very powerful system for easily taking care of your money. You don't need to use the whole system. That's that little plastic pouch that's in there. All you really need to do is to carry this little piece of paper here with you. And every time you spend money, you're going to be using this from now on. It's kind of like a calorie counter in a sense. But in another sense, it's going to be a millionaire maker. Now, I'd like you to just fold it into thirds, kind of like in a little S, a little accordion, so that it looks like that. Tiny little piece of paper. It's amazing that you can just put something like this in your pocket or in your purse, or you can put it in any other kind of planner that you're carrying in one of the little side pouches. The only requirement, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do is to use this every time you spend money. Now, you don't need to do it every time for the rest of your life, but I'm going to challenge you to fill up this thing for the next 30 days. And every time you find yourself getting out of control in your money, that you go take another one of these things out of the planner that I just handed out to you, and you use it again. Every time you're out of control. And I highly recommend that you use it every single time you spend money. Even if you're using Quicken or some other kind of financial program to control your finances. Because you still have to get back home to input all that data, right? This one little thing is going to take you about an extra minute to do before you take off in your car to go to something else. So I come up and I spend some money. Remember, we just bought, what did we just buy?
Pen.
You got a pen, right? So let's see, how did we pay for that? Well, there are 3 ways to pay for it. Either cash, credit, or check. So how did you pay for that pen? Let's say we paid cash. So let's look over onto our cash register, which is the far left-hand side, and how much money did you have in your pocket before you started? Well, I would like you right now to go into your pocket or purse and to dig out and find out how much money you're carrying on you right now, and to write the number right up here in the very top corner. Now, some of you ladies, when it gets into those purses, there's going to be money you're going to uncover in there that hasn't surfaced since 1974. Okay? I want to have every single penny you're carrying on you right now put up there in that tiny little corner to the penny. Yes, Larry?
And I have the multi-currency option, please.
Yeah, the multi-currency option. Let's just add up the Canadian and American dollars and presume they're the same thing. So that, yeah, that'd be nice. And just put the dollars up there, or choose whichever one you want to control, want to carry with you. I like that every cent you got on you is going to be placed right up here where it says begin balance, right at the very top left-hand part of that sheet. Was that again, ma'am? Traveler's checks is just like cash. Cash, dollar bills, pennies, quarters, everything you got on you, I want you to have controlled through this system here. Don't have any money on you, Liza? Okay, get it on there. Good. Count it all up. That's right, every penny, Evelyn, all those little pennies you've been carrying around. I want every penny to be controlled. You know, you ask this question, well, do I have to control it to the penny, Bob?
Do I have to control it to the penny?
Let's ask that question. I want everybody to ask me that question. Do I have to control it to the penny, Bob?
Yes.
To the penny. To the penny. Why? Because if $1 can grow into $1 million, what does a penny grow into? 1,000,000 pennies. How much is 1,000,000 pennies? 10,000 bucks. All right, so you're walking along the street. How many of you have ever walked and stepped over a penny and just said to yourself, that's just a penny, no big deal? How many of you ever walked by a penny and not picked it up? Basically, what you just walked by was how much money? $10,000, because underneath that penny is a whole bunch of pennies down there that you've got to pick up at the same time and put those into your bag as you take on with you. If you don't pick up your pennies, what you're trying to basically saying is, I don't value money. If I take that one little penny and I invest that, 65 years later, it's $1 million. Or 1,000,000 pennies, I guess I should say. If I get 100 pennies, that's $1 million. So I want you to control every penny. And I know that's so tough. And when I first heard this, I said to the guy who was teaching me, his name is Saul, and I said, Saul, you got to be kidding. He said, no, Bob, we're going to do it to the penny. And I said, I'm not going to do it to the penny. I mean, can't we do it just to the nearest $100? No, give or take $100. What's the difference? He said, no, we're going to control it to the penny. Because then we're showing ourselves we really value every penny. Okay, so you got all your pennies? Is all listed in there? Good. Now, we just bought ourselves a pen. So we list up here the amount of money we had. Let's say it was $93. Now we have, I want you to fill in the exact transaction. And the transaction, let's see, we have the date. So what was the date? Right, the date in right there. You can do it 9/11 or however you want to do it. Let's see, was it I'm sorry, the cash register. Did I do it wrong? I did. Yeah, check is in the middle, isn't it? Cash is in the middle. I'm sorry. $93 goes over there. We're doing a cash record. So the date. Who Who? Who do we give the dollar to? Staples, Office Depot, whatever place. We went to a place and we bought it, gave them cash. And so we put our beginning cash of $93. The amount was $1. So we write $1 in there. And the balance below the $1 shows us how much cash we have left in our pocket. $92. Let's see the category. What was the category? Well, it depends on whether you're in business or not. If you're not in business, you can't write it off, which means you just wiped out a tax deduction. But if it is, you want to put the number, what leak number are you going to put in there? 10. Now, I've actually multiplied this out by 10, so you can have 10 times more deductions. I call it 100. I've taught you the 10 leaks, but I've actually added a 0 to every one of those leaks and made it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So you can subcategorize if you want to, or if you want to keep it simple, just leave it 1 through 10. If you're going to keep it simple, then it'd be a 10 category in there, 10. And why? Why? Business expense and my balance. Okay, good. How long did that take me to do? Yeah, you get outside the line and you just, wait a second here, people are bugging you. I'm doing my millionaire minute. Do you want to be poor or do you want to be wealthy? I'm doing my millionaire minute right here. Just don't bug me. So you can finish. That took a little bit. We're not done yet though, are we? Because we got another side to this. So flip over the other side and see what you see there. On the other side, we see there are 10 leaks. And so where do we put this? Which leak do we put it on? It's under the business, which is the far right-hand side over here. So fill it out. And we should write in there the date. So we're going to write the date, 9/11. And let's see, was it a chick or a dues or a cur? Was it a check or a dollar sign or a credit card? It's a dollar sign, so we'll just write the dollar sign in there. And then we're going to write in what? Pen. And we're going to write in how much it costs, $1. Now above the dollar, there's a little thing that says target. What does target mean? This is not a budget. This is a target. Some of you work on budgets. We find that budgets don't work. If they did, the government would be much better off than it does today. Budgets usually don't work. What I'd rather you work to a target towards is how much do you think it's going to be? I'd like you to make an estimate and just put that figure up there as a target amount. Make a guess. How much money am I spending on business expenses every month? And make a target. And then when you get to the end of the month, you'll have a whole bunch of expenses written in here. Okay? So that's what I did. That was not hard. I made 2 entries here. I made an entry to balance my cash account, and then I made an entry over here to give me a list of my business expenses. That's going to take you about a minute. Most people don't spend that minute. They just run off into the future, assuming that it's all going to get taken care of by the accountant. Now, what else do I need to do during that minute? There are a couple other things I want to do. I want to get a receipt. So when I get my receipt for a pen, it's $1. I get my receipt. What number will I write on my receipt? 100. I'm going to write the category. In this case, I'm going to write 10. Is my tax category, or 100 based upon whether you're trying to have more delineations in your categories. I'm going to write the number 10 in there, and then I'm going to stick my receipt in my plastic pouch that comes with my planner. Let's fold up our thing again and take out your plastic pouch that's located in your planner there, and stick it in one of the parts of your any one of them, and fold it over. And there you've got your little system to carry with you. You can put that in your purse. You can put that in your pocket. You can put that into your other planner that you're carrying with you for time management, or I'm going to give you one to control your time too. So when I go to write my check or to pay my cash to buy something, here I am doing my Millionaire Minute. First I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to shop for value. I'm going to look for the cheapest and get the most valuable thing I can get. I'm going to try to negotiate a discount. Because if I can negotiate that discount 10 or 15% below, that means I'm making 20% on my money instantly by getting a discount. So I like that. When I bring the item up to the checkout stand, I'm going to ask for that receipt as it's being paid. I'm going to decide, is it going to be cash, credit card, or check? I get that receipt, and I immediately and instantly categorize it right there on the spot. I want you to know when the money is spent exactly what it was spent for. And you can remember the 10 leaks, can't you? Okay, what's the first leak? Charity. What's 2? Savings. What's 3? Unconsent. What's number 4? It's your shelter, it's your house, and then what you got to have in the house? Your household, which is food and stuff. And then 6 is auto, and 7 is got to have some fun. 8 is insurance. 9 is debt or miscellaneous, and 10 is business. You know, you can remember. It's not that really hard to remember. In fact, there's only going to be 3 or 4 of those you'll ever use anyway when you're writing checks. You're probably not going to write a check for insurance at the store. You're probably not going to write a check for savings at the store. You're probably just going to write 5s or 6s or 7s or 9s or 10s. And there's only a few of them you need to remember at all times. The key is I want you to write your number on that receipt every time you get it. So it's all done. Now, how many of you have ever taken all your receipts home and you dumped out all your purse or your wallet there, and all these receipts laying on there, and you got to go over and you got to read all the receipts again and try to remember if this is deductible or not? Okay, you're going to do it right on the spot and circle the items that are deductible. If they're deductible, write your number on it, and then instantly just stick it right in here after you've balanced it, tracked it, put it on the back, and then you're done. It takes about a minute. And as soon as you get home, what are you going to do with those receipts? I have to file them, so where am I going to file them? That's what the system's all about. So inside the system, I've created some stickers for you. Here are the stickers. And there are 3 kinds of ways you're going to organize your life. I've created what I call the wealth files, and I'm going to give them right here to you right now. The wealth files are the green stickers. They're stickers that include things that are your credit reports, your vehicles. These are for your assets and liabilities. These are for the things you own and the things you owe. Your O owns things, all right? And so if you have a mutual fund stock certificate, or if you have a title to one of your cars, if you're not keeping a safety deposit box, or if you have any other important business properties, these are all of the files you'll probably ever need when it comes to the assets, the things you own in your life, or the debts you have for the things you own. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is to go down to your local stationery store and buy a box of 100 manila folders. And the manila folders will be center, right, and left tabbed. It's just when you buy a manila folder boxes, that's the way they usually are. And on each of those, I'd like you to take these stickers and stick them on to the left ones, the center ones, and the right ones. And it doesn't really matter which is left or which is right. There are about 100 stickers here. It's just a few of them, less than 100. And therefore, as soon as you've stuck them onto your manila folders, you have what I call your wealth files intact. You can buy a little box at any stationery store for 10 bucks that has a little handle on it, and you can place your manila folders right in there, and with just a few minutes, you are totally and completely organized when it comes to your wealth and all the things and places that you need to file things. For instance, what if you were to mistakenly and unfortunately pass away tomorrow morning? Would the files of your life be organized well enough for your loved ones to figure out what was going on? Would they be going? Most of us in this room would have chaos. I once taught a seminar, and I won't take you through this pain, but I once taught a seminar where we literally had an experience where we crashed an imaginary plane into the hotel and killed everybody in the room. And with the lights off, as if the lights were gone now, we had them now take a little trip to their home and watch, as they watch on the radio or the television, the news of the disaster, realizing that you were in the building. And now they watch the panic that goes on in that person's life as they now try to figure out what to do. How they have to call a funeral director. They have to go through the financial records. And they watched for almost an hour, lights off, and watched as they went through we went through the funeral, the pallbearers, who sings at the funeral, where is the plot, to what's the insurance, to the whole thing. And after an hour's experience, when they came back into the room, we turned the lights back on, there were a lot of changed people there. They realized that it's going to be a very interesting experience when you pass on to the next stage of your existence. And what this is about, what the wealth files are about, are organizing you. Just one Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, some evening, you can sit down and have your whole financial life organized in a very few minutes. And then you start to live your life based upon the way this is organized. For instance, under the blue records we see here, in case of emergency, this is who they should call. You should tell your loved ones, if anything ever happens to me, you go to this little box. You open up the box and you pull it to this file and you read it. And it'll tell you exactly what to do. There should be your last will and testaments in here, your burial plans. It's kind of morbid, but it's going to happen. Maybe it won't happen to you. We'll have figured out the cure to mortality by the time you get to your time in life, right? So here we go. It's all right. Even important photos and keys, you have a simple place to go. When it gets to my red files, well, in here, I have my leaks all organized. See that? There's faucets and leaks. Faucet number 1, faucet number 2, faucet number 3, and you want to have at least 3 primary faucets flowing from different sources. We call that multiple streams of income. And then we have the expense leaks, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 to 100 there, plus the tax years for the last 5 years in your life. There's a place for you to file your taxes. Now, what you do is when you get home, you take out your little pouch here, and in your pouch will be the receipts for what the money you spent that day. How much money will you be spending every day? How many times will you go into your wallet or purse and pull some kind of financial resource out of there, cash, credit, or check? How many times a day are you going to do that?
3 and 5.
Either 3, 4, 5 times. More than likely, you're going to do 3 to 5 times a day. It's really not that big a deal. We take this money thing and we make it too big. I'm trying to tell you, that's why Ted, you ripped up the dollar bill. I want you to take money down to its simplest common denominator and analyze it. I want you to take money and look under a microscope at it and see really what it takes. And then I want you to take and look at it with a telescope and see what that little microscopic amount grows to as it's telescoped out over decades of time. And you can see what it can really grow into. And so I'm going to take every transaction and focus on it. And if there's only 3 to 5 transactions a day, anybody can do that. So today at lunch, when we have lunch here in another hour or so, you're going to go to lunch somewhere, right? Or are you just not going to eat? Probably going to. So you're going to probably transfer some money out of your life to somebody else's life. That's going to be what I call a money transaction. So let's figure out, like right now, let's plan it out. Where are you going to go spend money? Some of you don't even have it figured out yet. Some of you brought your lunch. Some of you, brought a Nutri-Meal or a Gold Bar that you're going to eat for lunch or something like that. So how are you going to, is it going to be cash? Is it going to be credit card? Is it going to be check? Okay. Which is better? Cash, credit card, or check? Which is the best way to spend money? No. What is it? Yeah, right?
I will say credit because we get lots of points on it. You don't have to carry any money.
Okay, credit card. If you pay your credit card every month, if you pay your credit card every month, that's one of the best ways to spend your money. What's the worst way to spend money? Cash. Why? One of the reasons is we don't keep records of it. What's another? If you pay your credit card every month, why is another? You don't want to have to. You want to feel yourself not having access to it. If you walk around, I heard some of these guys say, "I always carry, 5 $100 bills there. Just make me feel